Millionaire explained Trump wants to abolish the IRS. Yeah. At first, when I heard this, even as a millionaire, I thought this has to be some type of joke. But as I see there are bills being introduced and this is really trying to go forward, I felt like I needed to explain this. I needed to talk to you guys about what we could do, how we could benefit from this, because there is an opportunity if this actually goes through that I want you to know, understand, and I want you to benefit from, because baby, I feel like this is happening in some way, shape, or form. Let's go.
Noelle. Yeah, she can fix that. You gotta get it done, or you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
Okay, so Trump is introducing what they're calling like a fair tax. But before we actually even get into all of that, like what he's proposing to replace the IRS and to replace some of these things, because I have to explain to you all of what we have going on so you can truly see what the benefit is for you. Stay to the end because I'm going to explain some things that's going to really make sense at the end onto how you can actually benefit from this, because there are so many ways and there's an amazing opportunity that really exists. So let's kind of get into this. So the first thing I need you to understand is the different types of taxes there are. So I have written these out for you. I have my little marker and my eraser here. Thanks so much for QuickBooks for sending me this little whiteboard. But let me explain to you, these are the types of taxes, and let's kind of go through each one so you can really understand how the government is making money, what they do with the money, and which taxes are kind of going to be eliminated and how they're going to be eliminated with this proposal, because it really is very interesting. And like I said, some of this is probably going to take an effect in some way, shape, or form. And there's a major benefit that you can have if you take advantage of this and do this the right way. So the first one, type of taxes. Let's get into this. The first type of tax, like I said, is income tax. You guys know you pay income tax on any of the money that you pay. It comes out of your W-2, especially if you're like a W-2 employee. They just take the federal taxes directly out of it. You guys already know that. Then you have payroll taxes. So your employer, when you work for that employer, they pay taxes on the income that they pay you. This is payroll taxes. This is a different type of tax. Totally okay. We understand that pretty easily. Then, of course, you have capital gains tax. You understand capital gains tax, especially for a real estate entrepreneur like myself. This is really big. So, for example, when I sell a property that I have not owned for 2 years, say, for example, I buy a property for $100,000, I fix and flip it up, I sell it in 3 months or 6 months. I bought it for $100,000, I sell it for $150,000. Well, that's a $50,000 gain. And if I don't keep the property for a certain amount of time, and if I put it in my name, for example, then I have to pay capital gains taxes. So when you go sell real estate, you sell assets, capital gains. And that is a very, very important tax, because it's mostly only wealthy people that are paying capital gains taxes. But fix and flippers and people that are fixing and flipping houses, they actually pay capital gains taxes as well, or they get caught not paying them and they're in big trouble. So that's a big one as well. Time out real quick. If you want to take advantage of what's going to be happening right here, use the link below to Justin Merch Consulting. They can help you get a business and pay corporate taxes, because you'll be a corporation, so that you're not paying as much money as you would income tax. Again, I'm going to explain more of this later in the video, but you can just skip to the end by clicking that link below to Justin Merch Consulting, taking advantage of that free call, and actually getting money and pay less taxes in some cases. All right, let me get back to this. Corporate taxes. Obviously, corporations have to pay taxes, not just payroll taxes, but taxes on their earnings, on their profits. For example, corporate taxes. Now, of course, we know that most of our big corporations, Apple and Microsoft and, Home Depot and all these really, really big billion-dollar companies are not paying very much corporate taxes. And I'm going to tell you how you can get in on that. And that could be a benefit to you as well. But let's keep going. Number 5, of course, is property taxes. If you own real estate, for example, you have to pay your property taxes. It's a certain percentage, and you have to pay them every single year. If you have a mortgage, in many cases, they actually take a prorated amount and put it in your mortgage with the insurance. So when it comes to a mortgage, most time you have the principal and interest, you have the taxes, which is the property taxes, and your insurance, PITI. That is a very important thing when it comes to mortgages and real estate. So you already know that. Let's keep going. Number 6 would be estate taxes, okay? Estate taxes, of course, when you die, all of the money that you have, your inheritance, things like that, they have to pay a tax on that. Now, of course, it's on a very high amount. Wealthy people really should be paying more of this, but they're just passing all of this wealth down to their kids and not really paying very much taxes on it. Many of the liberals don't really like that, and that's a political thing. But let me be clear, this is not a political video. This is a finance video, all right? Number 7, sales tax. You guys already know about sales tax, right? So when you go to the store, you buy a dress, you buy some glasses, you buy some hair, whatever you buy, you have to pay sales tax for, and that is another stream of revenue for the government. Number 8 would be sin taxes. This is very, very important. So gambling, for example, cigarettes, different things like that, lottery tickets, those are considered sin taxes because they are kind of frowned upon. They're not something that you need. They're not something that's benefiting society. So it's considered a sin tax because it's a sin to do some of these things like gamble and bet and things like that. And so they tax it. They're called sin taxes. Then you have number 9, of course, tariffs. Tariffs, let's talk about that for a second. We know that Donald Trump is really big on tariffs, and this is kind of what he's talking about, is what's going to replace number 1, income taxes. He's basically saying, I can increase number 9, tariffs, and I can reduce number 1. So I can increase the amount of tariffs, the amount of money that's taxed on imports, and that can reduce the income tax. We're going to talk about that in just a second because that's what he's proposing, and we'll talk about those numbers in a second. And then last but not least is just other taxes, okay? And this is just miscellaneous. Let me be clear, like toll roads, for example, that is a tax. You know what I mean? If you're having to go on a toll road, you're paying a tax. Let's think of another one. Resort taxes, tourism taxes. Okay, I'm here in Orlando, Florida. I'm right near Disney World. I live on a resort. When people come and stay in our properties, they have to pay tourism taxes, resort taxes. Those are actual taxes from the county and the city that they are charging to make more money. So those are real taxes. So these are the 10 basic categories of taxes, as you can see. Number 1 is the main thing that we're talking about. The IRS is the Internal Revenue Service, and they are big on collecting income taxes. Or when you get a W-2 and you've paid your taxes, that amount that goes to FICA, the federal income tax or whatever, that's going to the IRS. Well, the IRS generates, it shows that, okay, so let me give you some numbers. So the IRS pulls in from income taxes for about $4.9 trillion. But when we go to the U.S. Borders and Protection site, let's see what they're getting from tariffs, because this is what Donald Trump and the Trump administration is saying they're going to use to replace income tax and use that money, get that money from tariffs instead of from you and I through income taxes. Okay, well, let's talk about this for a second. When we look at the number for fiscal year 2022, we have $35 trillion worth of imports that came in, and we collected on that 35 trillion, we collected $111.8 billion in tariff revenue. So on $111.8 billion, we're trying to get to $4.9 trillion. Okay, even if we just took and we taxed all of the tariffs, that is a big steep. Then we would have to have like 135% tariffs on every single thing. So yes, Donald Trump has actually proposed some really, really high tariffs. And of course, we saw that did not work very well. And there's still negotiations going on because that is a stark number. And we're trying to get to a lot of money, because a lot of money and most of the economy's money comes from income taxes. And 4.5 trillion, because what the government does, of course, with taxes, let's think about this, they actually spend it. So you pay your taxes and the government spends it. They spend it on bridges, police, federal government, IRS workers, whatever they spend it on, they spend it, but they also borrow money. We already know that. So if you actually just take for a second, the real opportunity for you that you could do is you could actually start a business. If you actually start a business, you would then be a corporation in many cases. You can file as a corporation and you can really reduce your tax liability and create another stream of income for yourself. You can easily build business credit. You can easily get business funding. If you need help with that, use the link in the description box to Justin Merch Consultants. Let them know that Noelle Randall sent you. I am a friend of Justin Merch. He helped me with my personal credit, and now he is helping so many people with business credit, and he's getting people lots and lots of money, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 for their business, and again, in their business's name. But the amazing thing about a business and having a business is then you get those benefits of tax write-offs. There are so many tax write-offs and tax deductions that exist for a business, and we already know that corporations do not pay the same tax rate as individuals. So if they're getting rid of the IRS, you have this amazing opportunity where, one, you could get funding in your business's name, but two, you could actually pay less money in taxes if you are a business. So you actually can create a business and do most of your things through your business so you can get more funding and you can actually pay less taxes. And you're not even worried about all of this. But as we're looking through this, we see that with all of these different types of taxes, we are trying to get tariffs to replace this number here. And that is actually a very, very big feat that the Trump administration is taking on. Will they be able to get enough tariff money to actually reduce or eliminate the IRS and those taxes? What they are actually proposing is a fair tax, so just a simple tax amount that everyone pays, and then that would reduce the amount that we are paying, and then the shortfall of money, because the fair tax, quite frankly, when they just do the numbers, it just doesn't equal out. If we just said it straight across the board, here's the tax rate, and and we got rid of all of the things that we do with Schedule A, Schedule B, Schedule C, Schedule D's, and all the stuff that we do on taxes to get that revenue back, they would actually need to do a whole lot of tariffs. But we don't actually, me and you listening to this, we don't necessarily, that's not our problem. We don't really care about that. Okay. Yes, we care about our country. We care about things that are going on. But when we're listening to something, we have to figure out what's in it for us. And what I am telling you, the big thing that's in it for you is knowing that your income tax could be reduced. You could start a business and then you are filing as a corporation and you are actually even paying less taxes because you can actually even pay yourself through your own business and pay even less taxes. Okay. So there are so many benefits to starting a business and actually earning money in your business's name and putting all of your earnings into your business and not having those taxes that you have to pay. So let me keep going because, again, if you need help with anything of setting up a business, getting business credit, or getting business funding, just use the link in the description box to Justin Merch Consulting. They will help you. They are friends of this channel, and they are amazing, and they're helping so many people. But let me keep going. So when we currently look at the numbers of if just having a fair tax and getting rid of the IRS and then just increasing the amount of tariffs that are paid, could this get us back to the number that the government needs? Well, when we look at the number, the answer is no. Okay, the answer is no right now, but the government could do one thing. So, of course, you can get your money. This number is going to go down, but this number is going to go up. Well, they also could reduce the amount of spending. Okay, that's where Doge and some of the other things, the Department of Government Efficiency, this is where some of this comes in. Because at our current spending levels, to be able to get to the number of, the amount of tax revenue that's derived from just income taxes and the IRS is going to be really, really hard to get to with just tariffs. As I already explained, it's such a shortfall to get to 4.5 trillion from 112 billion. All right. So what we could also do, of course, is reduce the amount of spending that the government does. And that's the other proposal that is coming in. But what does that mean? That is going to reduce the number of what? They're going to hit what? Employees. We already know that. Getting rid of some federal employees, getting rid of some federal departments, and more important, getting rid of some federal services. So there's people that receive, disability and they receive welfare, different things like that. We already know those are going to be the programs that they touch. They're probably not going to be able to touch Social Security. There's just too many older people that rely on Social Security retirement income, and it would actually destroy our economy altogether if they cut those numbers because of the baby boomers and just how many of them rely on that as a source of income. I'm saying this as someone with 2 master's degrees. I have a master's degree from Penn State in economic development, and I also have my MBA. There's absolutely no way that you can look at the numbers and see that they could cut Social Security. They may be able to cut it by a little bit, but not enough to get to those numbers. So if you're a vulnerable population, someone that receives government assistance, this is the perfect time for you to start thinking proactively and starting a business and getting some income that's not necessarily reported directly to the government. Yes, you're going to file your taxes. That's how you're going to get those tax deductions, but you're also going to start making more money so that you're not reliant upon the government and you have other streams of income. Okay. Really, really simple to create another stream of income with your business and very easy to do if you can get business funding to get you started. We all have lots of different business ideas, whether it be t-shirts, hair, nails, photography, cutting grass, books, whatever your idea is for your business, you absolutely can do. And it's a lot easier to do if you have business funding to pay for ads, to pay for inventory, to use as reserves. Okay. So just in case you don't have all the money every single month, You have these business lines of credit, for example, $100,000 that you can rely on. These are all of the things that you can do right now and that you need to take advantage of. One of the things that's probably not going to be affected by the IRS going away is business funding. Donald Trump is very, very business oriented, and pretty much all of their initiatives go around business. They want to fund more businesses. They want them paying less taxes. They have more loan programs for them. Like, this is the time for you to take advantage by starting a business. You need to start a business, build business credit, and have this as a stream of income, and realize that that's where most of the funding from the federal government, most of it is going to be pushed into businesses, not vulnerable populations for individuals. It's not going to be given to the homeless. It's not going to be given to single moms and that, daycares. That's not where the money is going to be going. The money is going to banks, and they're going to be lending to businesses, because businesses create jobs, businesses create more revenue, business actually creates economic activity. There's a multiplier effect to a business. So again, not giving you any political stances whatsoever. Again, this doesn't matter if you're Democrat, this doesn't matter if you're Republican or anything between. This is about looking at what's happening and doing what's best for you. And you can already tell unequivocally that Donald Trump and the Trump administration is going to be pushing money into wealthy people and into businesses, and even small businesses. And you have an opportunity to start a small business, pay less taxes, and get business funding and business credit going, so that you are not just an individual out here in the world trying to make it. You can actually create a business, and that becomes an entity that can borrow money, it can file bankruptcy, it can do a lot of things, all right? And it can pay less taxes. So make sure that you use the link below to Justin Merge Consultants and have that free call. See if you can get a business started. If you already have a business, see how you can get those trade lines and you can get that business funding. He has helped people get $75,000 from one phone call. Okay, I have students that have said, I got approved for $75,000 and I had one phone call with Justin Merge Consultants. Use that link below. Again, it's absolutely free. The IRS getting eliminated. Will that happen? In some way, shape, or form, it already has started. They've already started laying off people. If you call the IRS, the hold times are longer. They're getting rid of certain people. They're actually paving the way for some of these things that I already said, where they're going to reduce income taxes. They're actually going to increase corporate loopholes, with corporations pay a little bit more taxes, but there's so many loopholes for corporations and for rich people, wealthy people. Trust me, I've learned this stuff. I take advantage of it. You don't actually have to pay very much taxes when you are a business. Most of the taxes in the United States are paid by W-2 employees, people that have the taxes taken directly out of their paycheck. That is who is paying the majority of taxes in the United States. So if you can get away from that, you can be a business, you can actually reduce your tax liability and increase the amount of funds that you have access to, even with bad personal credit. And again, in some cases, creating a whole separate business profile in your business's name that can borrow money in your business's name. And if something goes wrong, you file bankruptcy on the business, and you personally do not have to be affected every single time. This is amazing. This is what I want you to do. We have to see what's going on, be watching, and we have to make the moves that are best for us, that are in our best advantage. And you can do that. And I'd share with you how to do that. Start that business today, or get that business credit built today. You can do it. Use the link below. Absolutely free. Thank you for staying to the end. I really appreciate you staying to the end. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel. We are so close to 1 million subscribers, and I need your help. The more people I have subscribed to the channel, the bigger the channel is, the more exposure, the more people talk to me and tell me amazing information that I share with you here absolutely free. Less than 33% of you are actually subscribed that are watching this video. We are stronger together. Click that subscribe button. All right, see you next time. I'm sharing all of this with you because I want to make sure that you have all of the knowledge, all of the resources, and all of the tools that you need to be successful. This is Noelle. To your success.